Have you ever had that feeling, like you're just forcing things to work? In your job, in your relationships, maybe even in your own life? It's like you're constantly pushing uphill. Well, what if there's a reason for all that friction? Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea that everything, and I mean everything, from a tiny plastic brick to reality itself, has an inherent design, a kind of blueprint we can either work with or fight against. All right, let's get into it. So, this quote, it comes from a master builder, a guy literally standing in front of a giant, unsorted pile of plastic bricks. And he's not talking about some small 100-piece kit. No, he's about to build one of the most complex architectural models ever attempted. What on earth does he mean he can already see it? That's the mystery we're going to unpack. So, let's set the scene. The year is 2019. We're at LEGO headquarters in Denmark, and the company has a massive problem. They need a huge, perfectly accurate display model of the Sydney Opera House for their big architecture series. So they call in the big guns, Ryan McNaught, one of only 21 LEGO certified professionals in the entire world. Now, the scale of this challenge was just immense. The execs at LEGO present Ryan with 65,000 unsorted LEGO pieces. He's got all the blueprints, all the reference photos you could ever want. But there was one very crucial thing missing. That's right, no guide, no step-by-step plan. See, no one had ever built this exact model at this scale before. He had to figure it out from scratch, with a bunch of nervous LEGO executives literally watching his every move. No pressure, right? Okay, and here's the part of the story that just baffled the engineers at LEGO. Over the next 3 weeks, Ryan built the entire flawless model with zero trial and error. Think about that. No rebuilding sections, no taking things apart because they didn't fit, no hitting structural dead ends. He just picked up pieces and placed them exactly where they belonged, almost like he was just remembering where they went. How is that even possible? Well, this was Ryan's secret. He tried to explain that the pieces themselves have a logic built into them. They're designed to connect in very specific ways. He said the key was that he wasn't forcing them together, he was just helping them become what they were already designed to be. He was reading the blueprint that was already contained within the system itself. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. That's a cool story about Legos, but what does that have to do with me? Well, it turns out this principle of seeing an inherent design, it's a universal pattern. You find it with masters in just about every field you can imagine. You see this everywhere once you start looking for it. A master woodworker talks about reading the grain of the wood, following how it wants to be cut. Musicians will often say they feel like they're just discovering a melody that was already there, waiting to be found. Great architects describe certain buildings that just want to exist. Mathematicians feel they're uncovering these elegant truths that were always present. And good software developers, they talk about writing clean code that aligns with the inherent logic of the problem they're trying to solve. This isn't magic. It's just pattern recognition at the absolute highest level. And this is where it leads us to a much, much bigger question. If a bunch of simple, manufactured plastic bricks have a design logic that lets someone build something magnificent just by understanding it, then what about the universe? What about our societies, our economies, our relationships? Do they also have an inherent architecture? Is there a way things are supposed to connect? This idea, it's not new. Not at all. In fact, it seems like master builders have always kind of understood this. About 3,000 years before Ryan McNaught built that LEGO model, a master builder from the ancient world made a very, very similar claim about the nature of reality itself. This is King Solomon, a guy credited with designing the most incredible temple of his time. And listen to the words he uses. He doesn't say commanded or willed. He uses architectural terms, founded, established. He's describing a creation that was built according to a design, a blueprint. And just like any craft, this blueprint had its own technical language. The ancient Hebrew word Solomon used for wisdom here is chokmah. And this is so important. It doesn't mean abstract philosophy. It's not about sitting on a mountain and thinking deep thoughts. It's an engineering term. It means skilled craftsmanship. The ability to work with materials based on their nature, to build things that are both beautiful and strong. It's the exact same skill Ryan McNaught was using with his LEGO bricks. And then there's this other key term, tzedakah. Now, we often translate this as righteousness, but its root meaning is so much more practical. It means
the state of being as it should be. So a wall that's perfectly vertical, perfectly plumb, that's Sedek. A scale that gives a true, honest weight, that's Sedek. So at its core, it's not just about being a good person, it's about being in alignment with the intended design.
And this brings us right to our modern crisis, because we live in an age that has, for the most part, completely forgotten this principle. We spend so much of our energy trying to force things to work, building against the grain of their inherent design.
Just look at this comparison. Instead of seeing the pattern, we try to use brute power. Instead of seeking alignment, we just want to impose control. We choose manipulation over real understanding and ideology over actual design. I mean, this is the fundamental conflict at the very heart of so many of our modern problems.
And what do we get from all this forcing? What are the results? Well, we get businesses that just burn out their people. We get economies that are completely unsustainable, that eat their own foundations. We get relationships that drain us instead of filling us up. We build cities that make us feel more and more isolated. We end up with these fragile, brittle systems that require constant emergency intervention just to keep them from collapsing. Does any of that sound familiar?
It all comes back to that Lego model, doesn't it? We are like builders trying to jam pieces together in ways they were never, ever meant to connect. And sure, you can force it for a little while, but the structure is weak, the beauty is lost, and you just know, eventually, it's all gonna fall apart.
But, and this is the hopeful part, there is another way. We don't have to keep building against the grain. The solution is to rediscover the master builder's method, to learn how to build with the design and find that path back to alignment.
The process is actually pretty straightforward, but it's incredibly powerful. First, you have to learn to see the pattern that's already there. Then, you are to understand the logic behind it. From there, you can align your actions with its specifications. And finally, you get to build the things, the businesses, the relationships, the systems that actually want to exist.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that powerful insight from the Lego master. When you work with the design, the struggle just disappears. It's not about force and control anymore. It becomes about cultivation. You're simply helping things fulfill their own inherent purpose.
So, let me leave you with this. What if the instruction manual for reality has been here all along, embedded in creation itself? What if the blueprint from the master architect is hidden in plain sight, just waiting for us to discover it? The only real question left is, are you ready to learn how to read it?